some flickering in there.
Oh.
That
What's
means
it?
stop.
That means stop?
Hold it.
This is a new one?
No, I got a couple of years and a half ago.
See that little
The lights
flicker in
in
there?
there. Is that Harold? Smile,
Oh,
Harold.
okay.
You're on Canton
Hey,
I
Cable.
didn't
you
know
got
that.
it pointed the wrong way, fella.
I didn't know you was pointing it. Looks like you're pointing it that way.
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Ron,
actually taking
what
Mother and
are
Dad.
you? Is that just pop that you're drinking there?
Yep.
Okay.
Fortunately, no, it's
Here's to you.
it's non-alcoholic wines. What it is,
Oh.
yes, precisely.
Many more.
Did you get that?
Do it again.
Here's to you.
Here's to you.
How about a kiss?
Then forgot
Hey,
to do
boy,
that.
I can blackmail you with that one.
Black hell.
Comes and goes. And I figure it must be something in the circuitry, I mean the connections between the various things that are maybe breaking through or something. This is with all pictures.
All channels do the same thing.
Some worse than others.
It sounds like, I couldn't tell from here, you know, you have to try a different TV to see if the different TV acts, and maybe it's in the TV.
No, it's okay,
We
the
have
other
three
TV's
TVs.
okay.
You have another TV in the same room?
This set is right in front of the fireplace, the middle fireplace.
Yeah.
And I had to get a different cable to go between the set and the VCR because it was getting through the cable. It was not covered, insulated properly. So that would help. I wonder if it still isn't enough, if it's
I don't know, I'd have to go look at it, you know, I just
leaking
can't,
through there.
I can't tell from here.
Yeah.
It's very hard to try to picture what could go wrong.
Very few things are.
There's a lot of things in the loop there that would have.
No, I'm gonna take it now because you're just saying that.
Try it.
Well, now the
That'll teach you,
neighbors
Aunt
have a
Louise.
big
It doesn't work.
I asked her if you were
Yeah.
taking that.
I would have taken that one.
If it's between you and the
But-
TV station, it shouldn't any otherwise, you know, just if it's got in the way. But you're on cable, right?
Yeah,
Well, the cable should take care of everything. I mean, they should deliver you a clean signal.
sealed and everything.
But if it happens to all the TVs you have in the house, there's got to be cable. If it's just one TV,
Just one TV that will take these tapes.
then it might be in the TV. I don't know.
Every other station is a tape. Every other station on ours was good too.
Do you change stations on your tape recorder, or you change stations on your TV?
Do we have a box?
On our TV, generally.
Because I have mine hooked up, so I have to have the
We're
recorder on.
wasting film
In
and
order to watch the
then
TV, because I change the stations on the recorder.
Oh, I see.
Unless there isn't any
So
there yet.
It wasn't forwarded.
that's because I don't have to hook up VHS to the TV that way. See, I do the VHS tuning on the recorder. But
Ron,
I have to start with
that's what she told
the one that came with the
You can ask him if you want to.
well, the only thing you do is you
Yeah,
run the
yeah, I
wire
did.
from the
Yeah,
cable
you
to
picked it up.
your TV and see what happens. You know, take the recorder
Who's
out of
talking
the loop.
about
That's an idea. I'll try that.
Go ahead, you got it
You
fixed
got
up
this,
yet?
I'll put another TV in the same spot.
Well,
So far, I haven't said
It acts the
anything.
same way. See, then you know it's not the TV.
Now,
He's got a good
Yeah, but we got another TV doing the same thing.
But
If you take the VCR out of the loop, you know it's not the VCR. It's
He is a good subject to
got to
talk
be the
about.
cable.
yeah, well, we
It's
weren't
in the process of
talking about him.
elimination.
I wasn't.
I wasn't either. We were looking at him, but we weren't talking about it. Were we, Bob?
I don't know.
Well, maybe you better have another glass of
I
it now.
told you, the guy just got me telling you that we were just looking at it, but we weren't talking about it.
About who?
That guy,
You want to get inside the mountains.
Yeah, right. Cavers like to find out what's going on inside the mountain. See, and they don't want to get out there where it looks dangerous.
Look at it this way, Ernie. It's mountain climbing inside out.
Right.
I brought some caving buddies up to West Virginia where there has a huge rock, you know, we went to try to take them rock climbing. Well, we'd been on some drops, you know, where there's some pits where you drop a rock and it doesn't hit till 6 seconds later.
Wow.
450 feet straight down. They didn't have any problem with that, you know. But I got them up on this rock ledge, you know, and you look over and it's about, 300 or 400 feet down. They're like this.
Yeah.
You know, say, I say, what, you've been on top of a cliff like that, you know, and they say, well, I couldn't see the bottom.
You know, Arnie, when he goes mountain climbing, he has to get to the top of the mountain, he climbs down, then he climbs back up again.
See, caving,
Because he's used to
caving's
caving,
got,
that's what you do with
You
caving.
go down-
Caving usually.
you go
farther
down first. And
You go down first.
Oh. Then you
So,
climb up inside.
He's trying to find a helicopter to take him to the top of Mount Rainier. And he'll climb down to Paradise and back up again.
We better be skinny.
With the plane up there waiting for him,
No, helicopter.
second time.
Helicopter.
Well, of course.
Planes have a hard time landing on the top.
See,
Oh, I guess they would.
cavers don't, my camera doesn't work.
Really? No batteries?
You know, battery died.
Oh, dear.
I'm
You
getting,
know, all those pictures you took are no.
I think they were okay, because I saw the needle move, but when I started to put the next roll in, it's not moving anymore. So I'm pretty sure most of them turned out.
Somebody broke it. It can just do that, huh?
No.
Yes, if the battery is dead, it does that.
I'm just not, I'm getting used to a computerized battery operated camera. When I first got it, I just, couldn't believe that here I am owning a computerized battery operated camera.
that, right?
Yeah, cameras,
Someday you'll
I
have
hit
one
and
with
push a button.
autofocus.
Right.
What?
Someday you'll even have one with autofocus, then you'll really be upset with yourself.
Right, if I buy one with
Don
autofocus,
didn't want one with autofocus.
taking myself all the way back home from the store. What did I do this for?
What, do you feel like going outside?
A few minutes.
There's Joe on here.
Well, you did good.
Everybody did good. Everybody did good. Even Harold did good. Hey, I gotta show you my workshop. Would you like to see my workshop?
Oh, yeah.
What's this workshop?
A workshop.
Talking today about your parents and their brothers and sisters, and maybe a little bit about your early days, especially around Puget Sound. I'd like to start by asking you a little bit about your father and his parents. I knew Grandpa Grant real well, but I, of course, never met either of his parents. So I remember, was it Grandma Daly? Was that,
That's right.
that's his mother?
My dad's mother, yes. My grandpa Daly was her second husband because my grandfather was killed in some kind of an accident.
Whereabouts, do you know?
I think down the railroad. I really don't know too much about him. We didn't talk about him. Strange.
So Grandpa Daly was,
He came
I
from
mean,
Norway.
Grandma Daly. He came from Grand Norway?
Mm-hmm.
And how about Grandma Daly?
No, she was born in probably North Dakota or something like that.
You know, but she was from Scotland?
She was Norwegian also.
Oh, she was Norwegian
Yes.
also? Well, that's right, sure, okay, that's right. So his side was all Norwegian.
Yes.
And how about
Daly?
Grandma Grant?
Well,
Her
she came
parents.
from Irish stock. Her neither her father nor mother were born there, but their parents, I think, were, and they also many of them are over here already. Came over with the early settlers, like in the days when the Plymouth came over. They settled that early.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, I should have asked you a little more about Grandma Daly. What do you know about her background?
well, I think I told you a little bit the other day, or maybe it was somebody else I was talking to. She was born, I think, in one of the plains states, where it wasn't populated, and there were Indians still living around them. Her husband at that time was still alive, my Grandpa Grant, and I think they had perhaps maybe some young children, I'm not sure. But they lived in a sod house. They dug it up, and then piled stuff over the top.
Probably had nothing else to build with.
Probably not. So wood was very precious to them.
What state would that have been in, do you know? North Dakota?
I think it was probably North Dakota. My father had quite a few cousins still living in North Dakota.
Did they ever come out to Seattle?
Who? He and my
Grandpa's parents? My grandpa's parents?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's where Grandpa Brown was killed. It was in Seattle.
Oh, it was.
He came out, he came out first and settled and found a place for them to live.
Before the children came out?
And then they came out. And my father was, I think, about 14 at the time. And after my grandfather's death, he was the breadwinner for the
How
family.
did he die?
In an accident of some kind. I've never been able to find out too much about it.
Well, I remember didn't he come out shortly after the first railroad was in? Seems to me.
Yes, I think my grandmother did. I don't know about my dad. Well, she probably brought the children.
But she brought the children, right?
She packed all their food, I know, and had a little stove. And I think the cars were all wood. I'm sure they were,
That must have been
I
quite,
don't,
quite a trip.
It was, I'm sure, a rough trip.
Well, how about Grandpa's brothers and sisters? They would have all come out at the same time?
I think so, and I put all their names down
Oh,
if you're
great.
interested.
Okay,
But I
yeah, I would like to.
Where are my glasses now? Can't see without them. They were not all, I think some were stillborn. So she had probably 8 living children. And I can tell you their names. I wrote them down.
Do you know the order of age or not?
I tried to get them down the order of
Okay.
age. Aunt Katie McConnell was the man she married, was the oldest. She was deaf.
I remember that. She had a hearing aid,
She was a lovely person. We loved her. And my father was the second.
Well, he was the second, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
And there was Emma Greenberg, who died. And Emily Voss Rhodes, that would be June's mother.
That's Aunt Emily, sure.
Amanda
Mhm.
Johnson and Florence Smith, Adolph Grant, and I think there was a son who, Benny Grant, and he, I think he drank a little bit too much and was sort of on his own. He went to California, and I don't think they saw much of him. And Anna.
Aunt Anna was the youngest?
No, I think Benny was.
Was he?
No, I think he was. I'm not positive.
I remember most of them.
Yes.
Yeah. How about Grandma's brothers and sisters?
Well, she had Uncle Clarence, who lived in San Diego for many years and hasn't been dead for too many years. And he was the oldest. He played the violin. It was his violin that got crushed when he backed his car up, a handmade violin he had made.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, what a heartbreaking day that was. And Edna, and I don't know her last name, and she was strange. She took herself away from the family and never didn't want to speak to them again. Her sisters or her mother, and their mother died, I think in her late 50s there, my mother's mother.
Out here at Port Blakely?
Port Madison.
Or Port Madison?
Mm-hmm. And then there was, I'm slow,
That's okay.
Hazel,
I remember Aunt Hazel,
yeah, and she married my father's brother Adolph for a short
Just for a short
period,
time.
a few years,
Yeah.
and Maud.
I remember Aunt
Aunt
Maud
Maud.
lived in Bremerton.
And they also had a youngest son that went to California, didn't
Oh, was that
He
right?
came back once or twice and stayed here a year and lived in Seahurst, in the house up there. But then he left again.
Do you know the name? You know his name? Of the son?
Well, I think it was, I say Benny again, because Benny comes to mind. Louise might remember.
Okay. Well, where did Grandma live when she came out here?
They lived near the waterfront.
In Seattle, or?
Yeah, in Seattle waterfront. That's where her husband, I think, Grandpa Braun, worked. Of course, the name was changed to Grant. Worked down near the railroads. What he did, I don't know. But it wasn't farm work. He was not a farmer. That's why he left Norway.
Oh, is that
He didn't want
right?
to farm land.
Huh.
They had a huge farm, so it went to the second son.
So are
I
there,
don't know
do you think
the
there's
name.
still some people in Norway?
Well,
Relatives?
Vernon and Carla say yes. And somebody, when Vernon was in Norway, sitting in the town of Braun, some man stopped him and said, "Oh,
He looked familiar.
he looked so much like someone he knew who was of that family."
Interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Well, how about Grandma?
Her family, you mean?
Yeah, did they live in,
They lived here, when they moved here, they moved to Port Madison.
from directly to Port Madison?
Yeah.
Do you know why they picked that?
No, not directly, but they lived in Wisconsin, La Crosse, for a while, and they moved out here. And he was worked on ships.
Okay.
Yeah, when he came out
caulker?
here, he worked in
That's
Port
probably why
Madison.
they lived there then, because
as a
there
caulker.
were all kinds of
There
sailing
was a-
ships in there,
yeah.
right?
Came in. And he used to row himself around, it's hard to believe, from Port Madison to Port Blakely
He
to
did.
work. That's a long job,
Sure
a
is.
long row.
Couldn't drive a car, so you had to get there
No,
somehow.
Right, uh-huh. Yeah, well,
Huh.
I don't know if there was a road through or not. The place is rough. Let's see.
Well, I remember Grandpa Grant told me once that he worked in a sawmill. Was that his first job, do you think? I remember he told me a story once.
Oh,
He
I
told
know
us
that.
many times about the $5 gold piece. Do you remember that story?
No,
He got paid $5 a week, and he got a $5 gold piece. He said at the end of each week,
oh,
and
my.
right after he got it, he dropped it in the sawdust,
Oh. I
and he
never
spent
heard that
all
story.
evening looking for it,
Oh,
and he couldn't
Good.
find it. He went home and came back. I think he worked 6 days a week. Came back on Sunday, spent hours going through the sawdust,
dear.
losing a week's worth of salary. And he finally gave up, and in disgust, he kicked the sawdust, and that he kicked the gold piece and found it.
I'm glad a story ends well. But he did work in a hotel as what do you call those fellows?
Waiter or
Carry your baggage.
a
Yeah, a
bellhop?
downtown fire.
Bellhop?
Yeah,
Is that right?
very close to where the fire started.
I thought, he worked in the candy store too, didn't he?
No, the candy store was next door.
Oh, he didn't actually work in the candy
No,
store.
but during the fire, the candy factory owner started carrying all the boxes of candy out, putting them on the street. As fast as they put them there, people would run away with them. And Dad said, "Why are you wasting all your time doing that?" He said, "The candy's going to burn up anyway, just leave it." He said, "Taking it as fast as you get it out." Well, and he was putting himself in jeopardy, being near the fire. So Dad was helping with the fire. "No, you stay down." And from there, he was a breadwinner in the family for quite a few years.
Oh, for his family?
Though the girls did go out at
Because
an
his
early
dad
age.
died?
Yeah,
Really?
and she didn't remarry for a while. But they went out and worked in the laundry. and they hired little girls to do kitchen work, kitchen help.
They did.
So my Aunt Emily was a kitchen helper. And later she and my Aunt Amanda, who was her twin, worked
She
in
was a twin?
Yeah. They were
Unlike
twins.
twin or like?
Unlike. As unlike as they could be.
Yeah.
And they worked in the laundry ironing shirts. And she said she could iron a shirt, man's shirt, in 4 minutes. So that was a challenge to me because I used to iron Dad's shirts. So I got to iron shirts good, too, in 4 minutes. That's fast
That is.
work.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever had a really professional type job. They weren't trained for that. I don't know what type of schooling they had. They probably went through grade school and a little bit of high school.
Probably,
maybe.
when they moved out here, they probably, that was probably kind of confusing
Well, my
for
dad
school.
was, yeah, he didn't go back to school, so he didn't have much of an education.
And he started a bike shop.
Yes, he was one of the
And
first
would that have been
entrepreneurs.
fairly close to 1900? Or a little bit after? Wasn't it real?
Probably. Louise, I asked her what dates they were born, my folks, because I couldn't remember now. And she thought he was born in 1876. And I imagine he was about 20 when
That
he
sounds
started
familiar.
that.
So it's close to 1900.
You know.
And then, do you know how he and Grandma met?
I think bicycling. I'm not sure.
Oh, is
but I
that
think
right?
bicycling.
Huh.
Yeah. That was the pastime in those
Yeah.
days. They had bicycle trails down to the lake and different places.
I remember another story Grandpa told. When he first got out here, he would see Indians out in their canoe fishing for salmon and getting all kinds of salmon. And he didn't know what they were using, so he stopped an Indian to find out, and they were using just chunks of salmon belly on a hook and catching all the salmon they wanted. And he said you couldn't give them away; they were so
Oh,
prevalent.
I know.
Just could, they were just
You see them
like a
swimming
scrap
in
fish.
schools in the
Yeah.
water. Well, he went fishing once, borrowed a boat, he went fishing once, right out of Elkai, Duwamish Head. And you know, there's a buoy way out there because it's shallow.
right.
Well, he lost an oar, or his oars, or paddle, or whatever. And all he could do was tie up to the buoy and hope somebody would come
Oh.
along and help him. An Indian finally came along
Is
and
that
helped
right?
him.
I'll be done.
You know, he could tell some good stories.
Oh, I know
You know.
it. And then he started an auto dealership fairly.
I don't know how long he was in the bicycle business, but he saw the opportunity for selling cars. They were in the East, and then they came out here.
As I remember, he was the second owner of the first car. That's my recollection.
Oh. Well, he
Second
didn't-
owner of the first car in the state, and that's the car that was
He-
done in Tacoma at the
He
museum.
sold that, but he didn't have it.
Oh, he sold it,
He
but it
sold
wasn't his
it.
car.
It was a used car,
Oh, okay, but it really
almost
wasn't.
brand new.
He sold it
And
to a
he
doctor,
sold it to a
didn't he?
Dr. Chapman or Chapwick, I think. And I don't think his name is on it in Tacoma. We looked
It's
for
not.
it. No, but it should be.
Yeah. Seemed to me, I don't know if it was that car or a car like it, that he told me that right after somebody bought it, the motor fell out. They weren't made very good, those first cars.
They were funny. They were like
Like a buggy?
one horse, yeah, like a buggy. And they had a thing, you know, like that. And they didn't go
Well,
very
then,
fast.
where did he and Grandma live when they first got married? Do you have any idea?
I think they lived in a hotel. And I think it's still in
a
existence.
hotel?
It's on Madison Street or something.
right?
Yeah.
Not the Serenity?
Waldorf or something. Is there a Waldorf Hotel?
It's up in Pine Street.
I think it was a
I
Waldorf.
wouldn't have been there then.
What?
I
It was a
doubt that.
wooden building. They probably remade it. Well, that's,
Did he work at that hotel, do you think?
No,
or
no,
not?
no,
Why would
no,
they live
they
in a
just-
hotel?
they haven't enough money to buy a house yet, perhaps, I don't
Huh.
know. But Mother remembers, at men that had too much to drink under their window, singing away, for hours, just singing. And my dad got up and got a bucket of water, poured it on his head. He disappeared in a hurry.
I'll bet he did.
See there.
Didn't they live in, had a nice house, not in Rainier Valley, but out
Capitol Hill.
Capitol Hill, yeah. Before they
Oh,
bought the
would
beach
you
house.
call that Capitol Hill? It was
First
between
Hill.
Providence Hospital and Garfield High School.
Somewhere around
Yeah. Maybe Capitol Hill.
Maybe not, I don't know what we'd call it.
there.
And
And
it's from that place, that's where I was born, in that house. And it was a nice home. We had a nice entry hall and a door that closed like these, on two doors.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
came together. And we played train all the time. Oh, we loved that game of playing train. My Aunt Hazel came to live with us, and she brought her son Wendell, who was just Louise's age. And he was we always played tricks on him.
you did, huh?
We were mean, especially Louise. She was afraid of her because she could pow. She powed us many times.
Poor Wendell.
Anyway, yeah, we'd play a record, and the minute somebody grown up stopped the record, they were in on what we were doing. Then we were at the train. We had to catch the train and open the door in a hurry, and the first one through could close the door on the others. Oh, awful times, but that was fun. And my Aunt Hazel used to tell us that the singers were, in the old phonographs, they had a kind of an opening, like a hallway, and like a little tiny hallway.
Mhm.
Do you remember that, Bob? The old phonographs?
Had grooves.
No, this one had a smooth hallway,
Mm.
and you could see in it. And she said the little singers are way back in there.
Oh, she told me
And I
that.
looked and looked all for those little people. I never could see them. I finally caught on, but it was fun thinking about it anyway.
And they bought the beach house
Yeah.
about when, 1910
He
maybe?
was looking for a beach property for quite a while. No, it was when I was about 5 years old. Later
So it
than
was
that.
later than that. And there was no road there then? You had to go
Oh,
by
yes,
boat?
there was that winding road. No, we never
there
did go
was.
by
Oh,
boat.
I
The boat
thought-
had quit. by
Oh,
that
it
time.
had?
Oh, yeah.
Even then it had?
Oh, yeah, no boats.
Oh.
The docks were practically falling down.
Oh, they were, even then.
Yeah. You could see the piling, but that was it. Yes, they had those boats going all over the sound.
Oh, I thought it was, yeah, I assumed they ran later than that, but I didn't
No,
realize it was that
they
early.
didn't.
Well, then, did he sell the other house? The
Yeah, they
house
sold it.
downtown? Moved?
Well, he didn't for a while. We just left it empty in the summertime, moved out to the beach.
Oh, so it
And
was a
he
summer
would-
house for a while.
Yeah, he would come in once in a while and look it over and see if everything was okay. We didn't worry about burglary in those days. And we loved it at the beach. He couldn't have picked a better place. The tide flats were beautiful, and he bought 3 lots. He should have bought more if he could have, but I guess that was it. And the Browns, Margaret and Chet's father owned the house next door before we moved there. So they came out in the summer too. That's how we got acquainted with the Brown family.
Did he sell a lot to Clark's for their summer house?
Yeah. It was a small, half a portion, wasn't it? Half a lot.
Wonder why he sold that little piece.
I guess that's all he wanted to sell them.
Well, it's between Humbert's house and his
So he didn't
little
need it.
beach house down there.
There really wasn't room, I guess.
Then there was the big house at the beach.
Yes, that big old house.
I remember
was-
a little bit about it, not a whole lot.
That was called the Cedars.
Oh, it was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know.
That was a big, you don't remember our house, log house we lived in. Well, that's what I wanted from that house, was that sign, the Cedars.
What, oh, it burned? Did it?
No, we got it out before it burned.
Oh, you did?
And I told my dad and mother, and he said, no, it doesn't mean anything to
Right.
them.
And they wanted to sell
Finally,
it?
mother talked him into it, so
Oh,
we,
she did?
we put it up above the log house.
So is it still there? Or is it now?
I don't know, it's not still there. What happened to it?
I don't remember it at all.
I don't either.
But it was on that big house for many years. And it was a big house. Had a
Had a huge
fireplace
porch,
upstairs and a
yeah.
fireplace downstairs. A huge porch down, a huge porch up.
Oh, that's
And,
right, yes.
We slept outside on the upstairs porch
We slept,
most of the time.
slept up,
But
we slept on the porch a lot. We slept on the big porch,
that's what I said.
did you?
I remember too, the, well, I guess I'd call it a water tank that we used to keep the milk in.
Oh, kind
Like
of a
below
well,
there, yeah,
a
like,
cold, cold stream. We
Yeah.
used to come all the time. Yeah. And then, well, what was that pond for? Do you remember? Remember in back of the
Yeah,
cabin?
that's right. I wonder what that was for anyway.
There was a spring there, and I suppose it just held some water for maybe that purpose.
But there was a huge cement pond
Yeah,
right
but they didn't
in-
keep food
behind
in
the
it.
beach house. It was fairly deep, wasn't
Mhm.
it?
Well, it was about up to here on
Yeah.
us. We could swim in it.
Maybe that was a swimming pool.
Well, they're pretty cold, Ron. Almost colder
That's right,
than
it
the
was,
salt
wasn't
water.
it? Yeah.
Great trader. And he would take things in trade. If a man wanted a car, couldn't pay for his car, well, he'd say, okay, what have you got to give me for the car? Make your payment. This man had a ranch. It's called Half Moon Ranch, and I told you once how many acres
I
it
know, it
had.
was huge. I forget. It was huge. So
It was a
thousands,
huge
wasn't it
place.
thousands of acres?
Well, it had mountains in the distance on it.
Hmm.
And if one of the ranch hands had to go find a cow that was had given birth to a calf, he'd have to go miles and maybe even gone 2 or 3 days.
This was in Leban,
Labam.
Leban.
Bam was the little town it was near.
What would that be? On the way to Aberdeen?
Uh-huh, on the way to the ocean.
Because I've never heard of Labam. That town, I don't think.
No,
Is it
I
still
don't
there?
think they had a cheese
Why,
factory.
gee, you should have kept it. That's a lot of property.
Well, I didn't own it.
I know it. I said he should have kept
Oh,
it.
well,
It was
they were
huge.
busy going back and forth all the time, and they had grandchildren, Luann, and wanted to see.
Did they have horses?
Oh, yes. We hadn't been married too long, and we had our dog Peggy. And Grandpa Steiner was living with us, so I knew Grandpa would be all right. I had a chance to go down there for a week, so I did. And I rode that horse every day. Rosie, they had 3 horses. One had just been broken in, and he was the tough one to ride. And I did ride him. The fellows used to saddle him for me, and sent me out for the cows first thing. I didn't know anything about bringing in cows.
That mainly the purpose of the ranch was to raise cattle?
Yeah, cattle ranch. They had a bull with the cows too. What was his name? Do you remember the bull's name? Anyway,
Elmer.
Elmer. Could be. You sure?
I just,
Elmer, I'll bet it was. It was a name like that. Oh, well, anyway. I went riding out there, full blast, and I rounded up the cows, and they saw me, and they started running as fast as they could to the park.
did they?
And when the fellow saw me driving these cows so fast, slow down. Don't run cows before they're milked.
They shouldn't have sent you out to do it.
I don't know if the milk was spoiled or not.
Well, did he sell that before the Depression or
No,
after?
probably during.
During? And when did he get the house up at Bayview?
Well, let's see.
built that.
Oh, he did? About the same time or after, later?
I think it was after, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because I remember going up to Bayview and swinging on a swing up in the attic or something. It
she
seemed
left
like
from
that's
there to
right.
go to Bayview.
Uh-huh.
that's about all I can remember. That
Well,
and
he-
Millwards next door.
Yeah, this was another trade probably, oyster land. Yeah, beds of oysters there in front.
We had a lot of oysters, I think. Did you ever get oysters?
Oh, yes, he always brought a whole bag, gunny sack full of oysters down for Louise and Hubbard and Dad and I.
He'd sell a gunny sack full for $1.
For $1? Wow. I bet they were good oysters too.
Fresh, you know. Of course, they were large. They were the Japanese oyster, they probably
Oh, they
were
were.
large, yeah. But they were yummy.
Oh.
Fresh oysters are good.
And he got out of the automobile dealership around
Well,
during
yeah,
the
he
Depression.
sold the dealership, but he kept it. He also had bought the building next door, and he used that for a shop to work on cars.
Oh, he did?
Hmm.
Was that the Seattle Automobile Company? Or?
Still part of it, yeah.
He traded that for the farm, for the ranch.
Oh, did he? Oh. So he was always trading something.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
And he was a dealer for what different kind of cars?
Well, he started out with a Franklin, I believe. You know, that was a steam,
Oh,
No.
that's
wasn't it steam?
Stanley was a
Oh,
steamer.
what did it? It was a
Franklin.
Stanley
Air
steamer.
cooler.
Air cooled.
He had the Stanley steamer. He had it was different, wasn't gasoline.
Anyway,
He had it for a couple of
he
years.
had the
anyway.
Franklin,
He had the Franklin, yeah,
Maxwell.
Maxwell.
Maxwell, and
And I know he hated Model Ts.
he didn't like Henry Ford at all. The competition.
With the Diane,
But
the Diane.
that's a
Diane.
car called the Diane.
It was, it's
Big
not
car.
now,
I
but I
know.
wish I had the figure on the,
Oh,
on
is
the
that
car.
right?
Oh, it was beautiful. That was a beautiful
That-
car,
Never hardly heard of that. I don't
expensive
think I've
car.
ever heard of that
No, it
car.
was too expensive.
Be fun to have one now,
Yes, it
right
would.
around then, wasn't it? Huh?
Louise and I looked at the Roadster, we called them Roadster then. Oh, Dad, that's what we want you to give us when we get big, a Roadster like that.
Can you think of any others?
Well, my mother tried to learn to drive, and he said, no, I'm not gonna teach you, wouldn't work. I'll have one of the men come up and give you some lessons. Well, my mother on a bicycle, the first thing she did was run for the telephone pole. You know, she got too nervous, I guess, so she headed for the telephone pole. Well, this fellow's having an awful time with her, teaching her to drive. And then she ran over a dog and killed it, and she
Wouldn't drive it.
wouldn't
for-
try again. No.
I,
So-
I remember a couple more stories from Grandpa. One was the first trip to Mount Rainier.
Oh, that was a 2-day trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Wasn't he in the first group that ever made
Yeah,
that trip?
with men, a car of men. And I recall when we had to wait down below for the cars coming down to come down. It was a one-way trip.
Was that to Paradise?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We used to go up there every year
Oh, did you?
and camp. Well, not, we had, you know, they had tents on, do you remember those tents on platforms?
Platforms,
I mean,
With a-
they owned them?
Concessionaire.
Oh, concessional.
Yeah.
I see.
And I think they had a stove included, but I'm not sure. But we take my Aunt Emily and June and, or Wendell and Hazel. Go up there. Have a good time. It was fun.
It seems to me I remember him going, I think it was like the first trip over Snoqualmie Pass when there wasn't a road after you got to the top. But I remember him saying he built a log raft and went across Lake Ketchless.
Oh, really? Well, he had some stories he hadn't told us. Oh, maybe he told us we didn't remember.
Well, he had he told lots of stories.
I know, he was adventuresome too.
Yeah.
days. And in second, reverse
Oh, going up
was
Queen
low,
Anne.
had a higher gear ratio than low going forward. So he couldn't climb the hill, Queen Anne Hill, in low even, but he goes the hill and back up. I said, this car actually backs up in low.
It's so good, it can go
Yes.
in reverse.
He told the salesman to do this every time we got a car for sale. Well, it would fool me.
Yeah, it's such a good car, it'll go up in reverse, huh?
Yeah.
So much strength. Oh, I was going to tell you some things about Louise and
Oh, okay.
stuff that we did. Well, we weren't at all alike. We still aren't, but we get along fine now. But she was a tomboy and she was a toughie. Toughie, I mean, she used her fists and knocked me down and told me if I'd tell Mother she'd do such and such a thing. And I believed everything. Anyway, when we slept in, we had 3 bedrooms. Vern's bedroom, our bedroom, and my folks had a great big bedroom that they had
That's in the big house?
in town,
Oh, in town.
that they'd enclosed with all screened around, so they could open it in summertime. It was a nice room. And Louise and I had this double bed we slept in. And she used to kick me and I'd punch her back or kick her back. And there'd be some fighting noise. Some mother would come up and separate us and tell us to behave ourselves. And it would start again. And she finally got so tired of it that she put a blanket, rolled a blanket up and put it between us. Well, that stopped us for a while, but not for long. Finally, the noise got so bad that Dad came in and told us that was going to end it. We weren't going to sleep together anymore, so we got twin beds for us,
Oh, you did?
which made us happy.
That was good, yeah.
And one night, well, Louise used to scare me with her stories. That they were, our neighbor girls we were friendly with, but they tell us that in our closet across the hall were tigers and bad men, and if we opened that door, they'd jump out at us, and we believed them. Because they were older, we thought they would know. We sort of knew maybe it wasn't true, but you know how kids are. So then one night I fooled her. I scratched the sheet. What's that noise, she'd say. But she was really afraid. What's that noise? I don't know, I don't hear anything. I had her fooled for a long time. Oh, crazy. Anyway, we did some tricks. We used to skate a lot, roller skate a lot. And, you know, we lived on, well, there were 2 steep hills to go down to our grade school. And the cobblestones then on these hills. Remember the cobblestones,
Those
Bob?
are pretty dangerous to roller skate
Yeah.
on.
Well, we roller skated on the cobblestones.
Wow.
There wasn't much traffic, but one of us would go first and stand down there, clear, come on, come on. Cars were slow, you know, once every 15 minutes maybe. So we'd skate to school and back. And I skated clear up the Esther Library once a week.
Did you?
That was a steep hill going up from our place. Then I'd strap my books and go home with these books over my shoulder, down that steep hill.
Oh,
I don't know how I did it.
Could tell about how your folks had people out so often, company.
Oh,
You know, they
well,
had a
every
club,
Sunday.
They'd argue on the porch their politics.
Oh, yes.
the people that came out did?
Well, yeah,
Uncle Ben and
my Uncle Ben was a strict Republican, wasn't he? Or was he a Republican or
no,
Democrat?
he was a liberal. Your dad was more conservative than he
Oh,
was.
anyway, that was part of Sunday, is talking politics. It didn't bother us, but they raised their voices, you know, and shout at each other.
By the hour.
But
Did they really?
they'd come down, they'd phone and say, we're coming out, or mother, dad would phone, come on out without even asking mother. And here would come all the relatives, 10 or 12 of them, and their kids. We thought that was great, mother.
She did all the work, huh?
She did all the work. Of course, the aunts helped her clean up and do the dishes. And we had some PTA ladies out. She was very busy with the PTA president and so forth, one or 2 years, and she had them out for a luncheon. And after lunch, the ladies went down to the beach. And when they came up, one was thirsty, and she saw this, well, they call it granite finish cup, sitting in the sink. So she filled it with cold water and took a drink, and my mother said, that's a dog's cup. Well, if the dog doesn't care, I don't. This very proper woman. That's kind of funny. Mother got a big laugh out of her. And what else? Folks owned
From where? From where?
Chicago.
Oh, he
His
was.
folks owned that house next door. And he'd come out, and he was 2 years younger than I. And we'd fool him. He'd fool so easily.
Is that right?
Yeah, we went down to Duffy's, and where Duffy's pool was a swamp.
Before the pool was built?
It was all sorts of alder trees and junk,
Oh,
growing there. And we buried a little tin box. Didn't tell him though. And we said we found a map. We burned the edges so it looked like a whole It says, it goes to Duffy's. Let's go find the treasure. And he took it all in. We took shovels. And we went down and dug, and sure enough, we found the treasure. And he was so excited. Oh, it's funny. I'll have to remind him of that someday.
You should do that. Yeah. See if he remembers it.
His father was a minister, and he was a great storyteller. And they'd make big bonfires over there, and we'd all sit around and ask him to tell us a ghost story. He was great at that. You could enunciate clearly and scare us, but we loved to be scared, because we knew the stories were,
Right.
Stories. We had a lot of fun. And June and Louise and I were all pretty good swimmers. And Louise was a diver, and June was doing tricks underwater, and I was the long distance swimmer. But I didn't like to dive. We had a wonderful time, didn't we? Oh, he was so gullible. He just swallowed it. He was big-eyed,
Is this your chair?
What else did you do?
No.
What else did we do to him?
No.
I don't know, poor thing.
I think we did too. He told us a lot too about his dad that his dad wouldn't have liked.
You really should get these two laughing.
I am. I'm getting them.
Oh dear.
Who told you about his dad?
Chip.
Chet told you about his dad?
Really innocent things,
Such as?
Oh, we're not going to repeat.
Come on. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
tell us.
we won't
wanna
tell
hear
him.
it.
We won't tell him.
No, I think we'll take it in private.
Oh, no.
It must have been really good, huh?
Oh, dear. I mean, that's what's so
Yeah, that's what we have to
fun about,
record. I'm going to send a copy of this back to Peter.
Oh no.
He wants a copy.
Oh, please do.
Yes.
Please. Wonderful.
Cut that out.
Why? He won't care.
No, I know sooner.
He doesn't even know Chet Brown.
Well, he knows us.
He's going to know you better after this videotape.
Our
Well-
son used to fight over the dog,
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't get to that.
Didn't you?
No.
Well, tell us
That's 'cause
about
I
I
always
was
that.
out in the sleeping porch.
I always won.
She beat me up.
I mean, whoever got to sleep with the dog?
Yes.
Yeah, whoever won.
Barky.
You never saw Barky. Barkus B. Wolf.
I saw pictures of Barky.
Yeah. Oh dear, we had hilarious
Was it
times.
the
I've,
two?
I've heard of Barky so often, I thought.
Was it the two of you that threw the outhouse over the cliff?
No, it's her
Oh,
by
you didn't.
herself.
You didn't do
I
that.
was
No,
I
no,
was-
no, it was with other girls.
Well, other girl, but my goodness, I was embarrassed for my
It
sister.
She went out
was
to, you
a
know,
It was a,
dressed as
it
a
wasn't
boy.
a
swing.
It
She
wasn't
went
an
out dressed
outhouse.
as a boy.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a swing, a porch swing.
to
She
the
took it off her
superintendent's house.
Sunday school teacher's
Never tell.
porch. Well, goodness.
He was such an innocent little
Mother. So,
meek man, and we didn't,
Well, he was a nice guy.
well, he was nice, but you know, we didn't really respect him because he didn't, I don't know,
That's
make
the
us
way
behave.
little kids are nowadays. Their moms don't do that either.
I'll bet they do.
No, they don't. Spank them.
Oh,
Like our mother, we knew
no,
she
he
did
didn't,
it.
we didn't expect a spanking from him, but we
But poor
didn't.
Mr. Ellis, that was his name.
was he wasn't the superintendent.
No, he was in a nurse. He was a bank man, I think, wasn't he?
I remember
It
Mr.
is
Ellis.
Well, Harold. But he was in a nursing home where our mother was, and he said, in a wheelchair, he said, "Help me, help me, help me." And I felt so awful because you can't help them, poor things.
No, but
Are you
he,
the picture taker? Oh,
he was on crutches when I went up there.
Oh, he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And,
Hello.
And that was,
well, come on, you can come
He
over
must
and say
have
hello.
he
Ardis,
didn't have
You
tips
can.
on his.
tell me about the times you went out dressed as a boy and
Oh, that was fun
and
too.
up to what's your superintendent's
Hell.
house and everything.
Oh, well, it was
Halloween.
funniest with Humbert. It was funniest with Humbert.
Because
He
didn't
was
know-
so innocent. He believed anything, like Chet, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I decided I'd dress up like a boy because I had sons whose clothes I could wear. This was Halloween night. We'd give them some thrills around there. Nobody came. So I went and knocked at their back door and I had my cap low and my hair back and, I don't know, smudged my face and talked real loud and, you know. And Humbert came to the door and he goes, "Oh, what have we here?" I said, "Trick or treat." And then Louise came around the corner and, well, they didn't quite know what to do. I was a pretty big kid, you know. So Humbert said, "Well, Mama, or Mother, do you have a," whatever you call it, Mommy?
Mommy probably.
Maybe we should give him a piece of candy. And I don't want any. And then when I left, I stumbled and fell
Oh,
down
God.
flat.
Oh,
Got a mouthful of dirt and
I
everything.
don't
and
remember that.
Humbert went to help me up, and I was laughing so hard, even though I was hurting. He said, "You're not a boy."
How did you find out?
Didn't you know who you were?
Then I told him. And then you joined me. You put on boys' clothes and joined me. Then we went to Brown's and Margaret joined us.
Yeah.
So the three of us went everywhere. And we had a wonderful time. And they all thought we were boys. Margaret had a long black raincoat on, and as we went out, Chet said, "You look like a cat lady." A woman who'd had a lot of cats, you know. And she had a sou'wester or something behind her.
Got
Humbert
kind
was
of a scare.
gullible. What?
She got kind of a scare when she went to the superintendent's house.
Oh,
Who was the superintendent?
Baker. Remember we went to Baker's?
I don't remember that, no.
Don't you?
You got a scare?
That was our last trip.
Well, the last trip I thought was with that, no, that fellow that did the garden work for Gil Duffy.
Oh, Esther?
Yeah,
No, he gave me a dime.
yeah, and then we beat it.
Yeah, but that didn't scare me.
Oh, I was embarrassed.
We were embarrassed,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
didn't know who we were.
Obviously, he didn't want.
So he was kind of naive.
But I gave Humbert some, I told Llewellyn, I said, "This is for you. These are for you.
April
You take these
Fool.
to Daddy, and those are for Daddy." They were chocolate covered
Cotton.
cotton, yeah, that's it. And oh gosh, he just lomped onto me, no, about that, you know.
He was picking taking cotton out of his teeth all night.
So we changed from Halloween to April Fool's.
Well, they were, those things Fredericks used to make, chocolate,
Oh, eclairs.
divinity.
They
Yeah.
look pretty good.
Sound
They
good.
are good.
I mean, the ones I made. Look
They
pretty
did,
good.
yes.
Were they bitter chocolate?
Sure. What would I do? Put sugar?
No,
No.
no. Well, you
Bitter.
just said chocolate covered
Bitter.
cotton, but
Joanne, you were so good though.
I was thinking that they were
You didn't
bitter
know there was
chocolate.
anything naughty about your mother, and so you told Daddy that these were yours and those were his out there. He believed you, and your face was straight, of course, because you didn't understand what your mother was doing.
Well, we were talking about Grandma and Grandpa Grant earlier.
That's right, we were. We got way
You-
off the subject.
Can you think of some other fun
Goodness.
stories?
I think maybe those stories came from our dad too. I think maybe our mother might have had a little bit of that in her too, don't you think?
Well, yes, and then more of
Yeah.
an English humor.
Well, I think we inherited it,
Mhm.
but it's fun, still fun.
Yeah, it is. Well, Louise and I can say one word that nobody else knows the meaning of and just go into hysterics. 'Cause
Like
it
what?
Reminds us.
Well, I don't know, some word that we remind us of something, and then
Mhm.
on the phone we go. Oh, it's a great life.
An English word or a?
No, yeah, English
Just
word.
a recollection of something that might have happened a long time ago. Oh, lots of stories that will die with us, I'm afraid.
Well, that's the purpose
That's
of
why
some
you're
of these
supposed to
tapes
tell
and,
us.
yeah.
Well, I want to
films
tell you
and-
about my mother too. What fun we had with her on the beach, because she was quite an intellectual woman and she was interested in about everything. So she got a book on tide flats and what grows in the sand and what crawls and so forth. And she took us out and we followed, and she'd pick up this specimen and explain all about it. So we learned all about all these shells and sand dollars and
Moon snails.
crabs and so forth.
Mhm.
Pretty soon she had a gang of kids following her, you know, because they were interested too. And wasn't that fun?
Yeah,
I used to enjoy it.
we learned an awful lot.
Mhm.
Well, I enjoyed it even when I was.
I'm sure you did. And then we got tubs of
Following
water, you
Grandma.
probably did that too, Ron. Put different things in them and watch the hermit crab go from his shell to a bigger shell.
Yeah, that was-
Watched how they,
That was fun.
Barnacles.
barnacles do
Yeah.
like that, gathering their food.
Then we put them back
Mhm.
in the water.
Yeah, it was really lots of
Yeah.
fun. Very, very good for kids. You know, a lot of the kids nowadays don't know anything about anything.
No, well, I see them go by here in groups
Oh,
from a bus, and they just walk on the beach. They don't stop and look.
house with a
Oh, a lodge.
yeah,
Place
a restaurant.
to eat.
And they were really disgusted. They'd say, "When will dinner be ready?" And our mother would say, "This isn't a restaurant." "Oh, yes, it is. So-and-so told me it was." She had a hard time explaining to them that it was not a restaurant.
All right, Maggie.
Then they'd come to borrow bathing suits so they could say they had been in the ocean.
Oh, I don't recall that.
Don't you?
No.
Oh. Lots of people did that.
Where was this?
At the beach
I remember
where we lived.
the daughter or a cousin of the people who sold it to us, to Dad and Mother, coming one Sunday. It's all right, Maggie. And she opened the door. We were all sitting there eating, and she opened the door. "Oh, it's time for dinner." And her face changed. "Oh, you're not." She thought
Oh,
her
really?
Yes. She thought her relatives lived there yet.
Oh.
She was very embarrassed. Mother said, "Well, come in," but she wouldn't do
I
it.
don't remember that, but I remember some of the ones that sold it came in when we were eating and wanted the lamp.
Really?
Yeah,
What lamp was that?
I guess one above the table or something.
Did they
Mother
give
and
it
Dad
to you?
said, "Why, no,
Yeah.
who sold that?"
Huh.
But they would come from different countries, different parts of the United States on that streetcar.
Well,
But
that was
where
a
did the
long walk
streetcar
down,
end?
too.
Streetcar began in Seattle.
Yeah.
When you got to White Center, you had to pay another nickel and then go on to Burien, where it
Right.
stopped right at the top of Seahurst, where the, what is it called now? Where the woman that had the kids,
Okay, so it went to Burien and then to Seahurst.
yeah.
And
that
then
was the end
people
of the
would
line.
walk down to the beach?
Yes.
To your house?
Uh-huh.
There was a trail down there.
A
The
road,
road,
you
uh-huh.
could drive down, get a car.
Well,
Well,
not
I
very
didn't
many
think there were
cars
any
came
roads that
down.
went out.
What?
I didn't think roads went out that far at that
Oh,
time.
yes.
You mean like streetcar?
No, roads. To
Oh,
drive,
sure.
to drive a car.
Yeah, but when we went to high school, maybe 2 or 3 cars would go by us.
But you were talking about people getting off the streetcar.
Yes,
and
right.
It sounds like the streetcar is right near where you live, but that's
No, it
still
wasn't.
half a mile or
Yeah.
three-quarters
Fourth of a mile, they say.
Well, you see, that's
Cool,
when
they-
Seahurst and Nokomis Park. Nokomis Park was where we lived, and Seahurst went to the right.
Harold, there's a stick in
And
the
they were-
door. If you're trying
They
to
were
push it open. See the
you
stick here?
starting real estate there.
Harold? See the stick?
Turn
Take
it
the
off,
stick
please.
out. I don't remember all the people coming down now.
Oh, don't you?
Just
well,
that
they
one
came-
girl.
No, they came and wanted water too.
Oh, I
And
didn't see that. No.
Dad would show them where the water was, and then he extended a pipe
Oh.
from where the water supply was out to the beach, so they could just put a pail under that and get
You
it
know,
without
that was a long
asking.
hike.
Oh, but people hiked then. People didn't care. We went to high school.
I know it.
And if there was a game at night, we went back,
Yeah, and you came alone one time
probably.
and scared silly because a heron up in the
Oh, that was when I went to
Tree.
visit my
started
pet teacher.
shrieking.
Yeah, because I ran down the hill. Clump, 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 clump. And,
Scared her
Oh, dear.
more.
Yeah, that's the way I went.
She came down running so
Flew
fast.
down myself. Remember how we could go down the stairs from the house to the,
How fast we could run?
at night?
Oh, yes.
We didn't even, there
Without
was no
light.
light.
No, we did
We
so
just
well.
went down. Gosh, I do think of that every once in a while. I'm on a staircase.
There were stairs
Come on, Maggie.
Come on, Maggie.
down to the house.
Dad made stairs from the house down to the beach.
Oh, from the house to the
That
beach.
little house that's down there
Come
now
on,
that looks
Maggie.
like a big
Yeah,
house
that girl.
was
Come
a
on, over here.
boathouse.
Come on, there you go.
And he let his mother come and stay in the summertime.
You gonna come?
And then his aunt came,
Well, you
and
don't
then
get
Aunt
that
Emily
better if you
came.
don't come over here.
And,
No.
Remember the monks.
The monks came, people that worked for Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just a good egg, really.
He was.
Mrs. Monk was sick with having born, she had, I forget what, something that bothered her legs.
Phlebitis.
Phlebitis. And they had 2 little red-haired boys, and she dressed Buddy in girls' clothes. I think she wanted the boys so bad. I mean, the
That's what
girl.
Little boys did wear
Well, they
dresses
did,
for
but
a
I
while.
think Buddy sort of, we thought it was odd.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But Buddy didn't care.
I just thought he was cute.
Yeah, he was cute, darling.
In fact, those 2 boys had so many freckles that
Yes,
they
go.
won the freckle contest and got into
Come on.
the theater free.
Oh,
They had a freckle contest.
Yeah, that girl.
You really have freckles.
Come on,
well, I remember those boys.
come on.
I was
Yeah.
telling a man this morning, you should go down there and see that house they built next to where Chuck and Margaret
Come
lived.
on, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's beautiful.
oh,
Yeah, and it's
You wanna come?
not facing straight out like this, it's like this,
oh.
up there, first to begin with.
No bulkheads.
No bulkheads, and the tide never came up. Well, I wouldn't say never, but most tides did not come up to the house that Dad built. And I think he must have had a little bulkhead there, didn't he? I can't remember.
What house did
Yeah, I
he
think he
build?
boathouse.
had one
A
about that
boathouse.
high.
He built a boathouse.
And that's where his mother stayed in the summertime, and we kept the boats there in the wintertime. But Brown's property had a bulkhead for years and years. Even when Whitman's lived there, there was no bulkhead.
Well, I think I have pictures.
And you should see it now.
Yeah.
Gosh, it kind of scares you.
Why is
High,
that
high
so?
bulkhead.
Well, I remember as a kid
Yeah.
that we could pull boats
Yeah.
up and down the bulkhead. Even
Yeah.
as children, we could do this.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 feet
But they must be
high.
10 to 12
And
feet
now
high.
they're
Would you
7 or
say
8 feet high.
10 to 12 feet high, the bulkheads now?
Maybe 10.
10? What? But it looks pretty high.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. In your place, they've got the
Oh,
bulkhead
you
in
mean
there.
where you,
And
man, that's a
it
good
goes around
12,
the
10
corner
to 12
and
feet anyway.
Goes way back.
That's what Margaret
And it goes
said.
around the corner.
He was quite musical on the violin. My mother hoped he would be.
I think
And
that
he
was
practiced in the little playroom we had off the dining room. And Louise and I hated this.
I hated violins.
That
We
we both
him.
have.
Yeah.
I don't like them yet.
No, I don't. Well, if I hear a good one, I can stand it.
I hear you. I don't think he enjoyed it either, sawing away, and she was listening with great pride, I'm sure.
Sure.
She liked it. But I don't know how many years that lasted. He played in the school orchestra, and he played in the high school orchestra too. So,
But does he still play?
I'm sure he does.
I think he does.
Does he?
Yeah, I think Carla said he did.
Oh, for
I
goodness
thought, oh
sake.
heavens, don't give us a concert.
Oh.
Oh, well, Uncle Ed in his 90s played, but he never learned it. He didn't take lessons. So he just seesawed, you know.
Oh, well, that's all Vernon did.
Well,
Squeak, 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 squeak.
he must play better than that. They wouldn't let him in the high school orchestra.
Did both
Don't
of
you remember high school orchestras?
Yeah, somebody's always
That
on
was,
tune.
that was a hysterical place too.
Mhm.
Did both of you play piano?
We tried to, yeah. We had to practice an hour each day. But she could, probably still can, make a tune-up, to go with the top hand, and I never could do that. And I tried, and I plump, plump, plump. No, that didn't work either.
I don't think I could either.
You and Mom did.
Oh.
you know.
Well, Mother was a natural.
Yeah, she was.
Her mother was a music teacher and played,
Oh, her.
Played for bands.
Her mother. Who was her mother?
yeah.
Her mother wasn't Grandma Daly.
No.
Grandma Wood.
Grandma Wood.
But we didn't know her too well. She was not well, and she didn't welcome little children. So we didn't see much of her, did we?
Well, I
Remember, you
remember,
crawled in the piano and
but I don't
scared her
remember
to
that.
death.
I
Oh,
climbed,
but we heard it so
yeah,
often.
underneath a rosewood piano, that part that lifts up and you have a
grand
stick
That was
there.
at
piano.
Maud's, I thought.
That was it. Well, that was Grandma's. That was where Grandma lived, where Aunt Maud lived.